Listen up, bozos. This is Office Hours with the Brofessor, the show where I say things. Today, in defense of cultural appropriation. Also, an important announcement. Hey guys, so today I'd like to take a break from the usual topics of language, history, and culture and talk about actually some criticism that I've received recently. So as my channel is getting more subscribers and views, that's great, but I've actually also gotten a couple people questioning my awesome fashion sense, okay? And in particular, some folks have taken issue with my wearing what's called a tangzhuang, okay? And a tangzhuang is a kind of traditional shirt, and sorry for the tones, I don't think my tones are right on that, but the tangzhuang is a kind of traditional shirt that's worn in China since the Qing dynasty, which was in the 17th century, okay? And another one that I like to wear is called a changshan, okay? And what it literally means is long shirt. It's basically the same thing as a tangzhuang, but it goes down past the knees. So I'm not wearing it right now, but here's a picture of some guys wearing them. So you know what I'm talking about. I have worn these on the show before. So essentially, some people have been criticizing the fact that I, as a privileged white guy, am choosing to dress that way, right? And their claim is that I have no right to wear traditional Chinese clothes, and that by appropriating Chinese culture in that way, I am disempowering Asians. Now, some people are seeing me wearing a tangzhuang and saying, hey, who is this guy to take on someone else's culture as if he was part of it, right? A white guy has so much institutional power already, and now he's stealing the trappings of another culture. I think that it kind of like some people would criticize white guys with dreadlocks, something like that, right? Now, this isn't actually the first time I've been criticized about this or accused of this. A few years ago, I remember I was back in the States at a party, and I was at the time wearing this beautiful gold tangzhuang, same one that I've worn on the show before. And a lady actually came up and she said to me, that's terrible, that's so racist. How dare you appropriate someone else's culture that way? Now, to be honest, I think that she was actually one of those people who looks for things to be offended about. We all know someone like that. But I do think that the extent of cultural borrowing, and as some people would say, cultural appropriation, is something that needs talking about and needs discussion in our society, especially when that borrowing is happening in the case of a privileged demographic borrowing a cultural element from a historically disadvantaged demographic. So this is something that our society needs to have a conversation about. So let's do that. Let's talk about why I like to dress that way and my rationale for doing so, okay? So as everyone knows, of course, YouTube comments are not really the place to look for rational discussion, right? But let's do our best to ignore the peanut gallery and talk about this reasonably. So I'd like to start with a disclaimer. As a white American guy, I wholly recognize that I'm coming from a position of institutional power and privilege. I am, by and large, not spared. I am spared from experiencing racism, and I will never understand what it's like to deal with ethnic prejudice every day of my life. Okay, I absolutely respect the experience of people who do have to endure this, and I would be very interested to hear from members of historically disadvantaged and marginalized groups and see what they have to say about this, okay? So please do feel free to join the discussion and comment. So that said, I would really appreciate it if you did. So that said, I would like to say here the same thing that I said at the party that night to the lady who criticized me. On what planet is it an act of racism to learn about and enjoy other cultures? What in the world would lead someone to that conclusion? So let's take a look at some of the claims being made and what's wrong with these claims, okay? So, claim number one. It's wrong to wear clothing representing a culture that one was not born into. Now, of course, the response to this, when I show someone a picture due to Western cultural hegemony and a history of imperialism. Fair enough. But in that case, it follows that when I wear a tangzhuang or a changshan, I'm recognizing that non-Western cultures exist, that they're cool, and that they're just as important and worthy of respect as my own. So that's what I'm telling the world when I put on my tangzhuang, that I respect other cultures and that I want to show friendship rather than cultural chauvinism. Claim number two. When a white guy dresses like this, he is disempowering and trivializing people born into the culture that he's appropriating. I find it difficult to accept that by wearing a tangzhuang, tastefully and respectfully, I'm oppressing anyone or taking power away from anyone. This argument, I think, that's being made hinges on the assumption that I'm wearing a tangzhuang to mock or superficially imitate Chinese culture rather than appreciate it. Let me show you guys something. So I can't show it here on the video just because of copyright stuff, but I will link you guys to it. It's a white lady, and she's singing a song about ninjas, and she's doing it in a horrendously racist mock Chinese accent, okay? And she's going through like this laundry list of Asian stereotypes while she's doing it, all right? That is disempowerment. If I put on my tangzhuang, start talking with a racist fake Chinese accent and start calling myself a ninja, which of course is Japanese, then yeah, that would be pretty messed up. And as a socially responsible person, you would be entirely in the right to call me out. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm putting on a tangzhuang and talking about how much I admire Guan Yu and Sun Yat-sen, and I'm genuinely appreciating Chinese culture and doing my best to learn about it. So that leads me to claim number three. Shouldn't take on outward aspects of a culture that I don't really know much about. My response is this: how do you know I don't know anything about Chinese culture? Let's see. I've lived in China for over 2 years now, all put together. I speak Chinese. I don't speak it super well and fluently, but I am learning, and I'm doing my best to learn every day. I've read Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I've read Lu Xun. I've read Li Bai. Okay, the list is growing. Right now I'm in the middle of the Shijing. Okay, of course, I'm not an expert, but I do my best not to be wholly ignorant of this China's magnificent history and culture, right? So one last point I'd like to make is the term, okay, cultural appropriation. I think that this term carries with it a very negative connotation, at least as generally it's used on the internet. But I would question if it's really a bad thing in the first place. I would say that appropriation is the very nature of human culture. Culture isn't static. It evolves and it adapts as people are exposed to new things, places, and ideas, right? So what a sad world it would be if we never got to experience other ways of life. if during our travels and studies we found something really cool or really useful, why shouldn't we incorporate it into our own lives? Let's say, I mean, this is kind of a simplistic example, but let's say you and I both had to dig a hole, okay? And I start digging with this dinky little garden trowel, okay? And you pull out a nice big shovel and you start digging your hole. And I look over at you and I say, wow, that's a good idea. But then I say, good idea, but I won't use a shovel because shovels are your thing and not mine. No, that's ridiculous. I'm going to go get me a shovel, I'm going to dig my hole, and I'm going to say, hey man, thanks for the smart idea, right? So that's my argument. And that's why I'm going to keep on rocking my tangzhuang and my changshan, and that's why I'm going to keep on loving Chinese culture regardless of what the haters say. So, what do you guys think? Let's have a conversation about this, and I'd love to hear what others have to say. I don't want to just talk, I want to listen too. So finally, before I go, I have an important announcement to make, one that I'm really excited about, and you should be excited about too. So this is going to be my last video post probably for a little while, maybe even about a month. I'll try to throw something in here or there, but we'll see what happens. I've just finished my year-long teaching contract in Guiyang, and I'm going to spend this month traveling around China and Southeast Asia and having this epic journey. In fact, I like to call it my adventure journey, as a reference to one of my favorite books, the hugely entertaining story Before Adam by Jack London. If you haven't read that book, you should. It's really good. But on my adventure journey, at least I'm hoping that I won't run into that red-eyed guy, right? Because if you've read the book, you know who I'm talking about. That guy's scary. So anyway, after this cool adventure journey, I'll be returning to the States for a few months, probably about half a year, to resume study at my beloved alma mater, Western Washington University. And I decided that I'd go back and kind of do a college victory lap, right? And at a higher level, add a high-level TESOL certificate on top of the linguistics degree that I already have. And at the same time, this will give me the opportunity to start looking around and shopping and visiting schools for a good PhD program. And that's something I'd at least like to get started on before I'm 30. I just turned 27 last week. Goodness gracious. So I'm starting to kind of burn daylight here. I'm getting old. So anyways, that's it. I'm going back to college, and it's going to be really great to see my bros again and party it up and see my church friends again and my professors too. Speaking of which, my professors, here's the exciting part. On top of all this, I'll have the opportunity to do more work on cats. My great friend and mentor, Professor Ed Vida, has agreed to do an independent study in Ket with me during the fall, which means that I'll be able to pick up where I left off 3 years ago. And you know what that means? Cool Ket videos on YouTube. Now, it's really only in the last couple of months here that I've really been serious about my YouTube channel and have known how to make videos properly. Honestly, I look at some of the old stuff, and it's almost painful to watch how much I stammer and and all of this. So I might have to actually go back through and redo a few of my older Ket videos just as kind of a warm-up. So you can look forward to some really cool Ket videos in early September. So everybody, I hope you have a good month. If I have time, I'll try to put some stuff out, probably maybe even some text posts on my blog, professorsoffice.blogspot.com. Check it out. Maybe some text posts. At the very least, I'll be checking my email and comments so I can still talk to you guys. That's a big announcement. Really cool. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Everyone take care, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. tin